Welcome back to today's project is on this Honda right here, XL600R. I'm just gonna read it because I keep getting it wrong even though I grew up with one of these. You remember the last video, we had a big problem because all of the interference, because the timing was screwed up, they had that off like, I don't know, 3 links on the chain?
At least, yeah.
It was bad, and it was causing interference between the piston and the valve. So we finally got the engine out, we got that cam apart, we got that adjusted, it's back together now. But what we don't know is if the former owner who said it was running, which it obviously was not, if when he quote unquote rebuilt the heads, if he damaged anything, if he bent the valve. So Dr. Torque here got us this really sweet kit. And this one, the big thing with this kit for testing, let me show you what it is what, the smaller ends on these?
Yeah.
See that baby right there. If this is awesome, we'll give you a link.
All the compression testing I do is for a 14mm thread, which is, you know, in every car I own. But a lot of ATVs and motorcycles use a 12 or even down to a 10mm thread. So this is a 12 apparently.
However, this is important because we have this set to test now and we just did some stuff.
We turned the engine over until we got it to top dead center for the compression stroke.
Yep.
Which means all of the valves should be shut right now. So if we put compressed air onto here, which he's going to do, it should more or less seal. You know, there's gonna probably be air getting out somewhere, but if air is just like blowing out the intake ports, then when somebody was trying to start this in the past, the piston hit the valve so hard.
And they jumped on it, yeah. Yeah, so we have the actual compressor test, but first, as you say, this is like the poor man's test. We're just putting some air in there.
This is a poor man's leak down test.
Yeah, poor man's leak down test. Okay, cool. So we got the compressor aired up. So how much air do you think we ought to put in this?
All of it.
Till it equalizes?
Well, it's not going to equalize, but go ahead and just hook it up and we'll see what happens.
Well, no, because it'll leak some, but...
Yeah, it's going to leak some and eventually run out. But
you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Woo! That was a lot.
Where was it coming out?
That was too much. I don't think that's for something bent. I think we don't have something closed maybe or something.
Well,
try that again.
Yeah, try it again. Yeah, that's blowing out here. But it sounds kind of like it's coming out everywhere.
So we're having trouble getting it completely closed off, but if we open that up, we're just dumping the tank in there, and I crank this, there is a point where when I crank it, it has a lot of compression. I can't turn it over. So that's a good sign. So I guess what we're going to do now, is switch to an actual compression test?
Sure.
Yeah. We're not going to reenact this, are we?
No, that was scary.
What did we do? What did we do?
We were able to get it on its way to top dead center on the compression stroke, which means we knew where the piston was, the valves were both shut, and we knew how to hold the crank from spinning, we thought.
Because we were having problems when we were trying to put pressure in here where the ratchet only goes one way and the piston kept going the opposite direction. We were putting air in and it was just ratcheting backward. We weren't holding it, so. Yeah,
the crank was turning, the piston was going to the bottom every time we put pressure against that. So we tried to hold it with a ratchet and it just about killed Jake. Yeah, that was so. I would say we've confirmed that there's a back pressure on this as much as we can. Well, it means the valves were sealed enough to do that.
Yeah, so we're gonna say that's a good sign.
Yeah, we just adjusted the valves again like we did before, and so that's all ready to go. I think we can put the little caps on.
If this had electric starter, we could do a little more, but that's our problem is we have to turn this over by hand. It's got to be fast enough to get that compression. So I think we've established there's some compression. That's a positive sign. And I don't want to rip my shoulder off or arm off, especially after having surgery on it recently, to get fixed. We don't want to do that yet. We don't do that. So let's get this baby bolted back together. Let's do it. We're going to put this spark plug in while we got this engine all cocked over to the side. We feel like that would probably be easier, but we getting the proper? Let's see.
I don't know.
I don't know. Find out. The proper size?
Nope.
No!
And this one is also not the right size. Stupid Japanese.
Are we speaking Japanese-o?
No more hatred, please. We have enough depression in Japan.
Start with my hand, you say.
Well.
Oh, I got it. Spark plug is in. And now you say you want some of these.
Yes,
So
I would like to put in these valve cover plug things.
So we don't knock crap in, you say?
Yeah, I would prefer not to knock crap in the engine that we just worked
After we
on.
got all that. See? I think that's a marvelous idea to not do. It's back in place now. So ish. Well, yeah, I mean, they're pretty well lined up. So now we got to get some actual bolts in here and nuts to make sure we get this, that it is lined up. And then there's the tread bracket up there. So let's start putting in the ones that we know where they go, and then that'll minimize the ones that we don't know where they go. That's loud. That's very loud.
I can see it coming though. You probably spin it the rest of the way.
For this particular exercise, it's all about hugs. Hugging it out.
You love this
I
motorcycle.
love this motorcycle. This is the only way to get this one, but that's tight enough for now. All right, that was cool. Okay, let's try this again. This time, let's check this and really, really make sure. That appears to be correct. Okay, now we got those in, lined up. They were a little tricky, but we got them, so we're gonna just tighten this up a little bit, like a modern day caveman.
Cool.
Sweet, okay, now we're doing good.
Show them what you're talking about.
So, yeah, there's our triangle bracket, obviously right here, and then we get this one here. I'm not positive which one's which, but they're very different shaped.
Well, the red one was at the top.
I thought it was too, and it looks like smaller up here, so I'm pretty sure that's it. And that's a bigger one, silver, but, so, we're moving right along here. Let's keep the progress going. One thing that's a tip, you notice we put all this stuff back together in brackets and put the bolts on, and the nuts on the bolts, I should say. I was getting confused because now I don't have to sort through a pile of bolts. And I also don't have to sort through a pile of nuts because I know, wait, I said that backwards, a pile of nuts for the bolts. But the bolts, like imagine, like let's say this was all just scattered in there. You're like, what goes to what? Well, now I already know because I had those all in there and put. So we're gonna put those here now, if that made any sense at all. And here's Dr. Torch to explain what I'm actually doing.
Well, you see, Jake has fastener dyslexia, and he says bolts most of the time.
Yeah.
Whether he's talking about a nut or a bolt, they're all bolts.
They're all bolt. Everything's a bolt.
Is it time to get huggy again?
It's time. It's almost time to get huggy again. This is a top hug. That's what we call a top hug. Don't want to get too technical here. First time bike huggers.
So I think we're to the point. I think at this point we're going to go around and tighten all those bolts and nuts that hold the engine in, and that's probably not very exciting footage.
We'll be right back. So those are all tight now. We went in a counterclockwise manner. It doesn't really matter, but I do like going in an order so you don't forget. Like if you did this one and this one, you might lose track. So we tighten these and these and that and this and those. And now we're ready for the carburetor to jam this baby back in here, which is going to be a little on the tight side. But we got it out, so we know it comes out. So let's see if it gets in. We can unbungee it. That's exciting. Anytime you can unbungee stuff, huh?
Ooh, this side's in.
Is that side in?
Can you wrench that one over?
If I sit you down. Hold on. I'm going to sit you right over there. Nope, don't be dizzy. Don't be dizzy. It's probably a terrible shot, but it's all we can do.
Look at that.
Yeah. Pry bar, y'all. Pry bar for the win. MVP tool.
I want to film you looking for stuff.
You know. That's 14, 13.
How'd you misplace it again?
I don't know. We're doing stuff. Everything's supposed to be right here.
There's something on. No.
Nothing on
There
there.
is something on the end of this extension. Have you looked at it?
No. I bet you anything, it's a 12. Guess it's good you filmed that. That was kind of good. Now, where's the ratchet? This is the one where.
Snap.
Stop saying that.
Stop tightening it.
I'm not tightening very much. I don't think. You try it. You break it.
Yeah, I think that's adequate.
Perfect. Adequate. Done. We're good. All right. Let's get this installed. And how nice that the bolts and the pin are all together. The key. I love keeping stuff. I love keeping it in the same spot. And I know this, sometimes if you forget, one thing that's pretty awesome about filming is you can go back and you can check it out. You can review the footage, which I definitely do from time to time, where I'm like, is that exactly the way that went together? Or am I just imagining it? And then of course you have the wonderful age-old problem of, I took this off and there's plenty of slack. How is there not plenty of slack now? Okay, I ran into a problem. I figured out what I did. I cannot get this on here because I didn't take this off when the motor was mounted. If you remember, if you watch the previous videos, I had this engine, this motor loose, and I was trying to get it shifted over far enough to get the valve cover off, but I couldn't, and so I thought, well, I'll take off this chain and sprocket and that'll probably give me a little more room, which it did, and it all worked. The problem was, I didn't put that back on with this loose. And I definitely don't want to take off all this stuff that we just went through to get that. So, but somehow it got on there. I'm gonna try something a little different here because I'd like to keep working on this. I don't want to take too much time and sort of derail this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this back chain. I'm gonna take the chain off the back sprocket. Maybe the darn thing comes off. There we go. I'm going to then just put this sprocket on. Oh, let me get you tilted up just a little bit there. There you are. And then we'll deal with the back. And I think that will be a better scenario. There we have it. Okay, that's on. Very nice. All right, we gone and found this piece right here, which, as you remember, goes right on here. Now, I also remember when I was doing this before that I really didn't like the way these wires were ran. Now, the last guy that owned this, I'm not saying that they were trashing this. I'm not. I don't think that was the case. There was definitely an accident. It was definitely somebody that broke some stuff that didn't know how to weld. It's definitely somebody that didn't really pay attention to right size nuts and bolts and washers, things like that. So it doesn't surprise me if this ground right here, which is what I believe this is, was kind of ran a little willy-nilly. I need to figure out exactly. I'm going to redo that just in case. So it doesn't surprise me if this ground might be ran a little crazy, a little willy-nilly here. And maybe we can find a little better location for that, a little placement. So let's do that. If we're going to take the time to do the work on this, why not do it right? This bike's going to go to somebody else. And I would really like that person to be grateful for the work we did, not cussing us out. And there's gonna be some things in here that we didn't do that they may find, but whatever we did work on, I want it to be done right. So let's keep this baby rolling. I'm pretty happy with this so far. Well, that goes in there like that. Yeah, I think this does go around the outside of both of these and tuck in there nicely. Yeah, see, because before it was in here, right up by this chain, and I really felt like that was not a good idea to have a electric wire, even if it's ground, riding on the chain. So let's move that out here where it definitely seems to belong. Now that is interesting. Let me show you something here. Check this out. See that ring right there? That's a safety ring, it turns out, because what it's doing is it's keeping those bolts from coming out. How cool. I'm all down with that. Yeah, I didn't know what that ring exactly was, but it's just designed so as those bolts rotate around, they can't come out past this if they started getting loose. Always like safety in those regards. I'm probably a micro guy, safety third. You got to get some work done. If it was safety first, you never get nothing done. But we also don't want to get hurt, right? It's the right balance. So, yes. Okay, next one. I decided to show you a little trick. You probably know about it if you ride bikes a lot, but if you don't, or you're about to, and you end up in the woods and the chain rolls off, and you just don't have the tools, there is a trick. I don't like to do this a lot because you can put some strain on the chain and it's not something you want to do. But in case of emergencies, I might as well show you how to do this. So you've already seen how the chain, I took it off, but let's say it just popped off and you're like, crap, this will not work on the front, it's too small. But on the big one in the back, if you hook the chain over the top and you get it started. Now normally I just roll the bike or back it up, so I'm gonna have to do it by hand, so hopefully I don't knock everything over here. But what you can do is, come on baby, come on baby. There you have, woo! See how that popped? That's why you don't want to do it. It can be a little bit of wear on the gear. It probably won't be much, and the chain's meant to be somewhat flexible, but still, so that's a little bit of wear, but it was worth the opportunity to show you how to do that. Now, I'm gonna tell you what, so whoever tightened this chain before me, this sucker is tight. They were not messing around. That's why we had so much trouble. In fact, I'd say it's probably a little too tight. So we may back that off as we get this running, but for now, it's back together, and I can move the bike around with the chain on without it getting jabbed up. But little tip for you out in the woods. Let's figure out what the next step is. I think I'm gonna go dig around the box and find this, and I noticed this is not mounted anywhere, so this whole thing, this is the, it's both the air box, and it's got mounts up top for some electrical and the battery. So it's kind of a whole bunch of stuff, and it's a rear inner fender, as you can see. So we've got this in place. That's tight. This is back in. That's been adjusted. These bolts here just pinch on both sides. You kind of just get this to where it's just about to engage, which it is. Same with this one here. That one's got more slack than this one, but I can't get that. That's as tight as it gets, or as adjusted as it gets. So I think that's gonna have to handle, and that's, see how that like engages it when I hit the gear shift here. And that's in place. So let's put a couple of small pieces on the other side and see where we're at. Let me show you something super awesome. This baby right here is a gift from Dr. Torque, because these ridiculous things that Honda put in here, these are ridiculous. They put this straight, it's not even a straight screwdriver because it's concaved on the inside. So they're all stripped out. The little one here was completely gone. If you saw the other video, we had a gem on it. I didn't think this one was gonna get out. So look what he got us. He got us these brand new ones with, look at this seemingly amazing technology, except Honda, I know you had this technology because look, don't those look familiar? Why would you do that? That's something that's required for timing. It's not like you can say, well, that was an important component. Are none of these important components, Honda? So I am very grateful that he found these, and it took some looking because so much on this bike you can't buy. They don't make them anymore, and those weren't. That is pretty cool because that's, the motor is now back in place. It's all bolted in. We got a lot of this little stuff. We got even the intakes done, except for a couple of missing hose, one missing hose clamp and some bolts here. So that means we're ready to start on the electrical on the next time, which is really awesome because that's all we need to try to start this baby, and I can hardly wait. So have yourself a look around. We got other ATV stuff if you like that, or supercharged 600 horsepower Raptors if you like that, whatever. If you like the video, why not thumb up? You might feel better about yourself after you do. I bet you'll have a great rest of your day. Speaking of which, we're going to take you out to Fist Bump of Friendship. It's Uncle Jake on behalf of Motors and Mischief and Dr. Torque, who is not here at the moment. Have an awesome rest of your day. We love you. Whoop-ow. Welcome back for the 1983 Honda XL cut retake. I can't ever get that right. I grew up with one of these bikes. Welcome back to the, I did give up. I think we shouldn't have shot with too many things today at once. We're gonna start over.
It's not my fault all your crap's broken.
Because I can't see what the heck this is. It's an XL600R, it's all broken. I have no idea if this will make any sense, but this
Joel, look.
is for the compression test. This is now starting to put it back together. Back together?
Back together.
If I don't get enough sleep, I apparently, I can't talk. I start talking gibberish.
I don't know, you had it.
Do I have it? Riveting footage, riveting. Woo!